On today's episode of the Glue Guys, the Brooklyn Nets, the team that was mired in obscurity for years from the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett trade, having no draft picks. They've just picked up Blake Griffin mid-season for vet min to join Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden, and Bruce Brown.
Big whoop.
It's just our life. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do the 9 biggest questions about Blake Griffin. This is all about emergency pod. This is all about Blake Griffin.
Big pause there. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do it.
Welcome back to the Glue Guys. This is Mike here.
Hello.
Check us out on Twitter at BK Glue Guys, netsdaily.com, The Athletic. Get yourself behind that paywall.
Wow.
theathletic.com/Glue Guys.
Wow.
Special deal waiting for you if you do that. Brian?
Give it to me, Mike. You know what I want.
Nets are back.
You know what I want.
The Nets are back. How are you?
Is this the worst or the best thing that ever happened to the Nets? Because that's all that's out there on Reddit right now. That's all I'm getting. It's either the worst or the best.
It's so funny that people are somehow anti-Blake Griffin signing. I mean, this whole pod, emergency prod, breaking glass. That's glass.
Okay.
Good. This is the emergency pod. The Nets have signed Blake Griffin to a veteran minimum deal. But yes, you bring up a great point, Brian. There is like an anti-Blake Griffin sentiment out there, a nasty, ugly sentiment.
I get that people haven't heard about these prices. Did it just break
these prices?
I mean, these low
in this economy.
Yeah. I don't know. Did that just break that it was vet minute? Because I didn't hear that before. And you're just saying that. Is that he's leaving some money on the table? Is that the idea?
Yeah, he's leaving. So just a small dive in the minutia here. The Nets could have had 3 different ways they could have signed Blake Griffin: vet min, a designated player exemption or disabled player exemption. I still don't know what the acronym stands for. They got that from Spencer Dinwiddie's alleged season-ending injury, though if you follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that for 1 second.
Dinwiddie may be back next week. We don't know.
For real.
But they can basically get anyone on a final year of their contract or a new contract for 1 year for $5.7 million. And then they also have a taxpayer mid-level exemption, which is like $3.5–4 million. The Nets preserve those 2 possible assets to use to get another player. And they just get Blake Griffin, who was all NBA like 2 or 3 seasons ago, for vet min. What a life. Nets world. Brian.
Thoughts? Comments? Is that what you're about to say?
So we have a structure to the episode, and we're so excited to discuss it. I've come up with basically the 9 most pertinent questions surrounding the Blake Griffin signing. And the first one is, who is Blake Griffin now? So let's do a quick stats deep dive here for a second. So just technically 2 full seasons ago, but 3 seasons ago, Blake Griffin was averaging 24.5 points per game, 5 assists, almost 8 rebounds, shooting 52.5% from the field, 36% from 3, like just 100% ready to roll. Perfect. He has declined. He got hurt last season. He only played 18 games last season, and he was only averaging 15.5 points. I don't know if it was hurt last season or the season before. Anyways, basically, he's a shell of himself. He's played 20 games this year, 12 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. Here are the numbers, the shooting numbers. Basically 32% from 3 on 6 attempts a game. And from 2, he's shooting 43% on 2-point attempts.
Can we look at MPG as well? Minutes?
His MPG is 31 minutes a game. So it's not.
He's getting some run.
It ain't nothing. So he ain't what he was, right? Obviously, there's a reason why he has been bought out and why he's now going, to the Nets on a vet min. I don't know. I still feel like that he is still a guy who's going to help out this team mightily, particularly a team that allegedly traded all their depth in the deal to bring in James Harden. If you can get Blake Griffin on a vet min, that's a guarantee. That is a win. Almost doesn't matter what he does. That just the exploration of that is a win for me.
Do you buy into the conspiracies that he's dogging it? There's lots of that going on out there. There's a lot of dogging it, Converu.
Well, I think it would be justified.
Okay.
Right? That there's some dog in that, but also I'm also not bothered by it. I wasn't bothered by it with James Harden. I'm not bothered by it with Blake Griffin, if it is true.
Yeah. I think it could be, a hodgepodge of cooked knees plus doggedness, that his real number could be more like 16 or 17 points per game had he not, inserted a little bit of dog energy into that equation.
Sure.
But to answer the big question though, is like, who is he now? I don't know. We should have gotten a Pistons guy on here. I mean, like I was just listening to the Zach Lowe podcast from last week, and they basically made it sound like he was, like, here's what it was. They didn't invoke Nick Batum, but I think the Nick Batum parallel could be one of the closest ones. Because he looked as bad as Nick Batum was looking when he was on Charlotte.
Batum was the worst player in the NBA when he was on Charlotte. Blake was still.
What are you basing that off? That's just
because. Yeah. Do you remember his stats from last year?
Yeah, they were bad. They were not good.
I think he was averaging like 2 points per game.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was pretty wild.
So he was the worst player in the NBA, at least if you count for salary. If you do that,
which you always should. You really should.
Blake is still 12.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5 rebounds or whatever. Like that's a guy. That's more than a guy. I mean, the assist total is actually what you're excited about because he's always been a good passer.
Yeah.
For what as great as he is in an athlete, he was always a pretty good passer.
And I did watch my YouTube highlights before this podcast, so I know a thing or two. And the passing game is alive and well. I'll say that like basically from what it looked like, I watched like one game where he had 25 or something against the Lakers in, I don't know, December or January. And all of the clips from offense are him at the, standing at the top of the key, the 3-point arc, and kind of dishing and operating and looking to shoot semi-contested threes. That to me is very much dogging it. Just that POV. I might elevate my dogging numbers a little bit higher actually, and be slightly more optimistic for that reason than most. Because basically he was trying to do that like stretch 4 playmaking thing where he's kind of plugging away at Jeremy Grant at the rim from deep. But yeah, anyways, sorry. I could go, where is he now? We need a Pistons guy to know whether it's real or not. But for me, it seems like dogging could be very much part of this.
Yeah, and if you want to go into dogging stats, and almost it's to the Nets' benefit if he was in fact dogging it, because he didn't want to be there in Detroit, and he obviously wants to be in Brooklyn back with DeAndre Jordan, which is so exciting. Blake, over like the entirety of his career, when he was a tremendous player, All-NBA, he always averaged more than 10 2-point attempts per game. In some seasons, when he was at his elite level, he was about like 16 and a half, 17 2-point attempts per game. This season, it's been down to 5. Now, there's like this whole, there's all this weird information that you can get with Blake, because if you look at the team he was on, Detroit was awful, right? Is an awful team, is like the worst team in the NBA. And the good moves that they made was that they got Jeremy Grant, who operates in relatively the same space that Blake typically operates in. And they got Mason Plumlee or Miles Plumlee, one of the Plumlees.
Mason, yeah.
Yeah, Mason. So yeah, I'm not worried. There's no worry here. This is a vet minimum deal. This is the luxury of having the super team that the Nets have. This is the dream that Luis Scola thought about many, many moons ago. The red moon of Luis Scola, when he came out and had his prophecy, his eyes were rolling back into his head.
Yeah.
And he popped back in and he said, when they get good, they'll get everyone.
He said Blake Griffin is going to supplement Jeff Green. He's gonna be a Jeff Green insurance policy. That's
let me hop to that. That's one of my questions. Is Blake Griffin better than Jeff Green? And I say he's not, right? Like I think Jeff Green for this team, I think Jeff Green is better.
You know what's kind of funny to think is like Jeff Green might be a bouncier bro than him at this, I mean, very clearly is, or at least in terms of intention, what he wants to be doing. Is he better than Jeff Green? It's a big question. Wow.
Because here's what it kind of leads to, and this is one of my other questions. Does Blake become one of the guys that's in the closing lineup for this team? Like, and we're going to have to see. Like, that's unanswerable right now. We can't figure that out. But right now, if everyone's healthy, to me, the closing lineup is obviously the big three plus Joe Harris and Jeff Green. Like, because I think you want Jeff Green out there to be switchy on defense. I know this breaks everyone's heart that Bruce Brown, the god, is not out there closing lineups. I just think you're still going to want a bit beefier dude and a bit more bulky and a bit bigger. Jeff Green, though, Bruce Brown is obviously the best center in the NBA. Everyone can recognize that and know that.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of why what the Blake Griffin question is. Like, is he better than Jeff Green? I think he's like, if you're playing 1-on-1, Blake is better. Like, Blake does more things. But what the Nets need, which is switchy defense guy who doesn't care about touching the ball and is happy to sit in the corner on offense, that's Jeff Green. And I love myself some Jeff Green. What a problem to have.
Yeah, in terms of like intentionality, Jeff Green is who you want on there because it's really a supplemental player who really knows his role. It's unclear whether Blake Griffin will come in and immediately intuit that he's like the seventh man. And might get late game looks, but probably presumably not. I mean, yeah, up until proven wrong, it's Jeff Green's spot to lose. this like small five, whatever. They're very similar looking too. Like everything. I watched those Blake Griffin clips, and especially now that he's quite a bit more lead-footed and plodding. They are just very like similar shaped and like stocky 6'8" guys. I think that Sean Marks just like, oh, I like Jeff Green, let's try to like duplicate that as best we can. Because who doesn't like Jeff Green?
So this isn't one of my questions that I planned out, but I'm gonna ask it to you now. This is a bonus question. How much of a no-brainer is this to, like, there is that vocal minority out there that is concerned that somehow Blake Griffin being on this team is going to ruin the chemistry that the team has, is going to take away minutes from Nick Claxton, which it's going to take away minutes from Nick Claxton. It's going to mess with Jeff Green's role, which everyone loved. He was like the veteran leader that you need on the team. Do you actually, is there downside? Is there a threat that this could actually somehow negatively impact the Nets?
Yeah, I mean, the Claxton stuff is maybe the only like foreseeable issue. People are really loving some Nick Claxton right now, and I get that. I don't dislove Nick Claxton, but I'm weirdly reminded also of Andre Blatch in this situation. There's not in terms of,
it's a Sunday night, the kids are asleep, and you're gonna bring up Andre Blatch? Jeez,
not when my kids are unconscious in the other room.
God. The humanity, Brian.
Just in terms of God, why does he remind me of Andre Blatch? He reminds me of Andre Blatch because it's a reclamation project, and reclamation projects have a whole lot of interesting kind of basketball narratives built around them, and they create a really inviting Twitter atmosphere for everybody. Just kidding. It makes it very toxic because people have this like, people love to fight about these kinds of things. Blake Griffin right now seems like a super easy person to be like, cooked knees, is dogging it, sucks, forget that guy. Also, I watched a bunch of like drama alert videos of him with the Clippers where like Jared Dudley is like, guy sucked, would hate that guy. Which, if you're a Dud fan like we are, that you have to take that into consideration now.
Old potato sack.
Right, that's right. Chemistry wise, he doesn't play enough of like a role, and he's interchangeable enough that like I'm not super duper worried about on court chemistry, and for that reason, like, you know, if you're not playing a big part on court, like how much can you really involve yourself personnel off court chemistry wise? It's not likely that you can, because you're like, shut up, you don't play. What are you talking about? It's like when oh god, Kenneth Faried had like a bad attitude and wasn't playing. It's like, fine, go away.
Yeah, go away.
yeah.
Well, first, I don't think he's a reclamation. He's not if we're going HGTV, he's not a fixer-upper with Chip and Joanna.
Okay.
He's a love it or list it. Right?
Sure.
It's either you walk into that house, you fix it up a little bit, you keep it, or you just sell it.
What about Rehab Addict?
Come on.
Do you like that one?
Rehab. I love that.
And it's a Detroit-based show, so that's a close parallel.
Another chef kiss for you, my friend.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm so pro. I mean, again, it's just so crazy that I think people are being negative about that, because, you know, part of the negativity comes from, are they going to get Andre Drummond, which I will assess later in the episode. But this is all positive. Blake Griffin reportedly gave up $13 million in his buyout just to get out of Detroit, right? Which could be viewed as like, wow, that guy's just really unhappy. I view it as motivation, and he knew immediately where he wanted to go. He's very close friends with DeAndre Jordan, I'm sure. And DeAndre is like the master. He's really the assistant GM of the Nets.
He is dug in like a tick now. You are not going to get rid of DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah. Well, he's really should just be in the front office. Right, he shouldn't even play. They should pay him $10 million a year to be in the front office, because he can get you anyone else in the NBA besides Serge Ibaka
of a certain era. Yeah, exactly.
Let me actually have you. Would you rather have Serge Ibaka or Blake Griffin?
Of course. Come on, obviously.
Which one?
Ibaka. I mean.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's not close.
Not to hate on Blake.
No.
You know, welcome to the team.
Sure.
But yeah, Serge Ibaka. So I'm not worried about the fact that he gave up that much money, knew where he wanted to go immediately. He's entering a friendly team. Kevin Durant liked the Bleacher Report's Instagram story about
give that a like, huh?
Yeah, that's a huge. I mean, that's a seal of approval right there. That's basically passing through Senate confirmation on your way to Joe Biden's cabinet if you get Kevin Durant's like. So I'm not worried about chemistry. Actually not worried about role at all. I mean, this team is like they've built up the depth. Nash has figured out like, okay, I got on the bench squad mob. You know, he has Shamet and Tyler Johnson's playing some minutes. Nick Claxton's like this interesting kind of curveball on this team. But they did need another big hefty body, and Blake Griffin is a big hefty body who also happens to be a playmaker. And also what I like about it, just a small thing, the Nets getting him means he doesn't go to Milwaukee. He doesn't go to, you know, name any other contender. Boston could have really used Blake Griffin. And it's a luxury that he's in Brooklyn. For other teams, I feel like he would have been like a crucial piece.
Yeah.
If you're like, even in Philly where like, you know, they have a lot of bigs and they don't really need a Blake Griffin. Like they could actually use a guy who can move the ball and get assists like the way Blake does. It's a luxury. I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, I know. Let's get to this right now. Okay. The question is, just because they Blake Griffin, do they still need Andre Drummond if he is in fact bought out? What a world.
Jeez.
Here's who. So to understand this question,
we're getting gluttonous. My God, can you listen to us? Yeah.
To understand this question, you have to understand what the Nets lineup is right now with Blake Griffin in it. So you have the big three, Harden, Kyrie, KD. You have Joe Harris, the greatest three-point shooter, I guess, besides Steph Curry in the NBA. And DeAndre Jordan. Let's say that's just the five. I know DJ hasn't been starting that much, but let's say that's starting five. The bench with Blake, it's Blake, Jeff Green, Shamet, Bruce Brown. And that's 9 players. 9 is a hefty playoff lineup, right? Like typically you get down to 8.
Yeah, you want to be at 8. That's a sweet spot.
So that's 9, and that doesn't even include Claxton, TLC. You know, TLC, I know he's on the outs for this team, and Tyler Johnson, right? And so if you include Andre Drummond into that mix, that's 10 guys who probably all deserve to play, and a lot of them are 4s and 5s at that point. The weakness of this team was the 4 spot, And now it's going to become, as you said, gluttonous.
Mm-hmm.
That you have KD starting at 4, and then coming off the bench is Jeff Green or DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, or Andre Drummond. So I get to you, Brian.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
Andre Drummond. Do you still desire him so much?
You know, it's funny too, because you're just saying like our guard play is like suddenly sort of like slightly further. We're going deeper into our bench to get guards off the bench.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that feels true, but also that like, you know, the Jeff Greens and Blake Griffins kind of do satisfy a lot of the playmaking that you would want from a lot of like Shamet and TLC and Tyler Johnson, bless their hearts, are not the playmakers that even Jeff Green and Blake Griffin are to a large extent. So it's funny that we're getting it's really positionless basketball, Mike. We're really doing it now.
You're gonna have Blake running point forward, Bruce Brown at center, and Joe Harris just fist bumping the whole time.
Yeah,
you know, fantastic look.
Shamet's just designated rover at this point.
Stopper.
Yeah, he's just pure rover. So yeah, it's a weird lineup, and I guess you know, heck, I'll take anybody, Mike. Who cares? You know, forget it. You know, I feel like, you know, I've completely lost connection to reality with who we should or shouldn't get or are able to get. You know, we just things fall into our lap all of a sudden. So, you know, heck, why not? But in terms of actual need, I'm not sure that we need the Drummond effect quite yet.
So, and we'll talk more about this after the break, because this Drummond conversation dives right into another conversations we've been having all season, and we have more of an answer than we've ever had before. Are you stressed out and you're having trouble relaxing and you actually want relief that works? Well, here's what you can do. You can take an Eagle Moon Hemp CBD gummy, Eagle Moon Hemp CBD gummy, when you get home to unwind and relax. It really does help you. I like CBD gummies. I use eaglemoonhemp.com CBD gummies for a couple of reasons. One, it's some of the best you can find on the market. It tastes great. And here's a great deal. Get 30% off all CBD products site-wide at eaglemoonhemp.com, promo code ATHLETIC. Their products are pure, proven, lab-tested, and superior to other CBD on the market. Best part? They are way less in price. Throw the discount code in, and you are practically getting a product for free. The discount code is ATHLETIC. Just athletic, just that one word, athletic. That's eaglemoonhemp.com, promo code ATHLETIC. Try them out while also winning free products potentially. Just go to their Facebook page and leave a review, or follow them on Instagram. A winner is chosen each week and sent a free product. Check them out. Let me know how you like them. That's eaglemoonhemp.com, promo code ATHLETIC. Welcome back. And if you haven't yet, go on iTunes, rate us 5 stars. We need them. We want to have them. We love reading them. This is a 5-star from Costa Rican 21. He said, "Guys are amazing." That's it. That's all we need.
That's all it says. Guys are amazing. Not even us.
Guys are amazing. Just guys, like
boys.
You know,
the boys. Here's one for the boys. Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about Drummond and Blake Griffin, and obviously, like a lot of the conversation is framed about like the Nets waiting for Drummond, and we don't know if that's going to happen or not. And the Nets ended up getting Blake Griffin. Does that stop them from getting Drummond? Let me ask you this, Brian. Does Blake Griffin do anything to help the Nets in a matchup against the 76ers?
Against Joel Embiid. We need a drop for that. We need some kind of
Joel. Yeah.
We need a does it do anything? I was just thinking about I was listening to the Athletic Pod. This is not a plug that I planned for, Mike, so just
Please.
heads up, but I was listening to that what's the name of the feed where it has all of them from all the national guys?
The Athletic NBA show.
Yeah. I was listening to the Schlecht one. Quite good. And they have this thing where they're playing the LaMelo Ball. Whoever's doing the announcing at Charlotte has like really amazing calls for LaMelo Ball. Strong recommend. But I'm just reminded of I need something for this Joel Embiid meme, because this is just going to keep coming up until we, dunk on this bro in a fucking playoff series. Sorry, I shouldn't be swearing. It's late. I've had too many gnocchi. I've got a gnocchi buzz going. Sorry, what was the question?
Does Blake Griffin do anything in helping the Nets I'll go in their matchup against the 76ers. Doesn't have to be about Joel Embiid, but just in their matchup against the 76ers.
No, not really. I mean, honestly, if I, do I think no, I don't think so. The Joel Embiid stopper meme is not real. Or it's like it's real, but it's not, there isn't one, so why engage with that premise? So no, it doesn't move the needle one way or the other, outside of just like it, improves it shores up our rotation in the event that, Jeff Green gets a Pat Beverly induced contusion or something.
I think it helps in this way only that it lets Nash mix in a whole bunch of guys. It's just another person that he can mix into like the big man rotation. Because if you think about it right now, let's say without Blake Griffin, it was just Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, and Claxton. And as much as I love Nicholas Claxton, I'd be terrified that he's getting minutes in the playoffs. Like, it's just too soon, right? He still gets winded after 3 minutes of play. So we need our guy to get his conditioning up. Need to get on that Peloton. I know, I'll keep joking about that. DeAndre Jordan, he is playing better. People are upset always with him. He's playing better. And Jeff Green obviously is going to come back from that contusion probably after the All-Star break. Blake just gives Nash. Nash could be out there like Mike Mussina, throw that knuckle curve ball, regular curve, the slurve, throwing all of his little pitches. I think Blake's going to play mostly small ball 5 for the Nets. And, he's not a post player. He's not a guy who really operates in that part of the floor. If he's playing on offense, you're not going to respect his 3-point shot. So he's not really a stretch 5, but he is like a ball handling. I can make a move in a way. I can make an athletic play still, even though he's sapped some. Like, he can still make Embiid work a little bit. So I do think it helps just a smidge. And he actually kind of so my whole theory, and we've talked about this many times, the 76ers matchup in the future, if it happens, it's a fallacy to say that the Nets need to stop Joel Embiid.
Right. We've done this.
The truth is that they need to stop everyone else.
Right. This is Mike's. This is what you're going to get tattooed on your ribs. This is
just limit Ben Simmons and Seth Curry, Tobias Harris, and I bring up Tobias Harris because he's been great this year. And actually, Blake Griffin is the kind of guy that can match up with a Tobias Harris.
That's true. That's a good one. I'm actually interested. And I know that this is not a Joel Embiid stopper, but I'm interested in the Nick Claxton on Joel Embiid defensive minutes, just because I think I mean of the people that guard Joel Embiid, I think you go swipey, take charges versus like just kind of go toe to toe in the post. Like, I feel like that's the better, more efficient way. Neither are a great solution, but I think swipey chargy is the move. Which
Nick Claxton, his defense on Embiid will remind me of. There's like a lot of those cartoon Disney movies when we were growing up where it was like a human and an animal would make their way through like the snow or the desert. There'd be some animal pal protecting this human who's trying to get back. And it's like a young wolf pup.
Is this the Jungle Book, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, Jungle Book, but there's like those sub B level, C level type Jungle Book movies where it's man and animal teaming up to make their way back to safety, back home. And the animal
homeward bound,
homeward boundy, right?
That's
and
that was the one with the dogs.
There was always a scene where the human was like terrified. There was like a big wolf, and the human was terrified.
You're talking about something so specific, and I can't
remember the movie, so I'm generalizing. And the baby wolf who was protecting the human, would step in front of the human and growl, and then they would fight. And the baby wolf would come out hurt, but it would win the fight somehow or scare off the big one. Nick Claxton going against Joel Embiid he's the baby wolf, Nick Claxton. Joel is the big wolf.
Who's the human? Are you the human? Who's the
Bruce Brown.
Yeah, Bruce Brown is
protect Bruce Brown. We must protect Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
By the way, Jared Dubin, he writes for CBS Sports and for 538, but he had a really good story on 538 about James Harden, how different he plays in Brooklyn versus Houston, and an amazing stat in there is that the Harden Bruce Brown pick and roll is the most effective pick and roll in the NBA right now.
Come on.
Insane.
Come on.
The most effective. They are, there's something like of the teammates who have done it at least 80 times over the season, Bruce Brown, James Harden are the most effective, most efficient.
What are we going to do about this is a crazy thing to say, but what are we going to do about Bruce Brown? Making sure that we get his minutes in
max
there.
Contract.
No, but like I mean this seriously. Like, when Kevin Durant comes back,
him a baby wolf.
He gets like forced out of the rotation in a way that I'm not comfortable with. I'm not comfortable with.
I was thinking of tweeting just to piss people off as like, should Kevin Durant come off the bench?
We should do that just to see what happens.
Because too many people.
There was I was actually really pleased with Twitter for one thing, which was so you had a tweet about the Knicks. Who live rent-free in your mind, Mike. They're living rent-free. Because the tweet was about how they passed on Blake Griffin, and you had said that they passed on him and KD and Kyrie and LeBron and throw Blake in with that group. And somebody was like, they're like, is this guy for real? He's comparing Blake Griffin to LeBron? What a joke. And to Twitter's credit, everyone jumped on that guy and was like, no, that's not what the point of that was. Which it could go either way. You never know, like if somebody's gonna, that's gonna be the new thing to brigade people with, and now Mike's the guy who thinks that Blake is the next LeBron.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna take another quick break and then we'll be back. I've got actually an extension of the Sixers question, but we're going out west. One of the most important things that you can do if you're trying to survive this spring, this summer, the winter, any season that you want is to upgrade your Wi-Fi. Let me ask you a question. Is your Wi-Fi struggling to keep up with not only your work, but your streaming, your gaming, video calling, and more? What about if you're doing all those things at once? Well, when you're connected to your world by Wi-Fi, be sure it is the best. Bring your Wi-Fi up to speed with Orbi Wi-Fi 6 from Netgear. Orbi Wi-Fi 6 is the best and latest in Wi-Fi. It covers your entire home with unmatched speeds and performance for uninterrupted working and learning, video calling, and streaming at home on more devices than ever before in any part of the house. With Wi-Fi this advanced, you're going to want it everywhere. Ready for the best Wi-Fi ever? Find out what makes Netgear America's #1 choice for Wi-Fi at netgear.com/best Wi-Fi. That's netgear.com/best Wi-Fi. With the NBA season in full swing, baseball getting underway, and the NCAA tournament and Masters right around the corner, the sports calendar is officially heating up. Right now, BetMGM is offering Glue Guys listeners a risk-free first bet up to $600. Just sign up at BetMGM.com and use the promo code GLUEGUYS to take advantage of this special offer from the king of sportsbooks. This offer is for new customers. That's a risk-free first bet up to $600 at BetMGM.com with the bonus code GLUEGUYS. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Cue the disclaimer.
Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, or West Virginia only. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, Nevada, and Virginia. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan. 1-800-GAMBLER in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. And 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. In Tennessee, call or text the red line at 800-889-9789. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. Promotional offer not available in Nevada.
So I promised you, Brian, that we would talk about one other thing. And, like so much of our conversation, we're so Eastern Conference focused.
Yeah.
I got to say, the Nets are pretty good. And we also need to be thinking about the NBA Finals matchups.
Wow. Okay.
And I think Sean Marks is thinking about a potential NBA Finals matchup because my question to you is, does Blake Griffin do anything against or help in any way against the Lakers?
And the Joel Embiid of the Lakers.
Exactly, which is Anthony Davis. So this is to me, this is an interesting question that I wrote, obviously. So it must be interesting if I wrote it.
Like you put it down on paper?
Yeah. I got it right here.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we're so focused on Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is a pure center, a pure five, a beast. unstoppable, modern day Shaq, all that baloney. Okay. Anthony Davis does not like to play the 5. He likes to play the 4. He's also has I think it's like Achilles tendinopathy or some weird Achilles thing going on, which is usually a precursor, unfortunately, to maybe a more serious Achilles tear, which could happen. You don't want that to happen.
All right, Doc.
I just I have the one part of the body I know best is the Achilles.
Yes.
So does Blake Griffin do anything against the Lakers? I think Blake helps more against the Lakers than he would against the Sixers. In that, beyond the fact that you can just get Blake Griffin for a veteran minimum, which of course any team in the NBA would do, I think that is actually the motivating factor if you're Sean Marks to get him. The reason why is because you can put Blake, even though I think he's going to play small ball 5 a lot more than maybe he did in Detroit. You could put Blake at the 4 still. He still is stretchy enough, still is playmakery enough to put him at the 4 with a real center, whether it's DeAndre or Andre Drummond, whatever happens. I think Blake has more of an impact in a Lakers series than he would in some Sixers series. He matches up. I'm not saying he's not going to guard Anthony Davis, but there's some things that Blake can do. He's another big body. Times you can kind of put him on LeBron to just stand in the way of LeBron. Blake does more in Lakers than he does at the Sixers. That is my theory.
I like it.
The last one, I have a couple small ones.
Okay.
Will Blake be more of a small ball 5, or is he more of a power forward on this team? It doesn't matter. Answer is it does not matter, but doesn't matter. And what's the answer?
I mean, I really do see him as like a true, like, what's it called in theater when you have a backup? What's the backup called in theater?
A stand-in?
Stand-in. He's just a Jeff Green stand-in in my mind. That's really like they feel incredibly interchangeable. I mean, that's how I would plan for his implementation. I could be way off. He could be like they could play together and do weird things that I'm not prepared for. Very incredibly weird things. But that's sort of where I would assume that he's going to be inserted as, just giving depth to that position that's been working so well for us throughout the season.
Yeah. And that's what, again, it kind of links back to like my whole Steve Nash as Mike Mussina take. It just gives like another really fun player to throw out there in certain lineups because he can play the 3, or not the 3. You can play the 4 or the 5. If he's your small ball 5, it's kind of, he's not as athletic as Draymond was peak Golden State Warriors, but
yeah,
a lot of similarities. Bigger body, good passer, can get the rebound, start the break. He really helps the rebounding. It's just crazy. Let's take the pullback. We should have done this at the beginning, and we have, but that the Nets, your Brooklyn Nets, Brian, are the team that this is just happening to. That it is just the Nets.
I'm dead to it. I've gotten so used to it. It's like I've gotten all the way to the end of the hero's journey to the point where I've like, I'm in the Scarface mansion, face down in a giant pile, hating life. It's already I've you know how it is. I'm just complete. You go right to the end of the story where it's too much. It's too much good things.
It's so strange. And again, it speaks to sort of, remember when we were like, and I think I titled one of our episodes like this, "The culture is dead," right? The Nets culture is dead.
What culture? Yeah.
You smartly said,
I did.
It's just a new culture. It's just a different, the Nets culture of Kenny Atkinson was one thing. It was development. It was growth. This is new culture. This is, Mohawk Airlines versus Pan Am.
That's right.
As you perfectly stated, which is a Mad Men reference, back with
from season 3.
Season 3. Episode 12. Third act. Yeah. So this is normal. Like, we should all get comfortable in this world. The Nets are getting Blake. I can't.
It's a good macro.
This is so. I know Blake is diminished athletically. I know he like, so there's like the anti-Blake tweets are also like, what does he really do for the Nets? Like, how does he really help them? What, their biggest weakness is defense. How does Blake help that? Like, that's the voice of the dissenters.
There was one really good, like I was doing the Reddit thread, looking through it, of the, on NBA thread or Reddit about this, and like maybe like 6 comments down, there's someone who's like got a Golden State Warriors flair, who's like, I'm just here to see us all delude ourselves into thinking this isn't going to work out again. Like I like that energy around this team. Basically, they're saying like it's going to be good. Blake Griffin's going to play well or whatever. We all thought that James Harden wasn't good. We all thought that the Kevin Durant and Kyrie thing wasn't going to work out. It's obviously all clicking. And it's just yet another part of what makes the Nets scary at the moment. We're doing some
scary hours, maybe, Brian.
I don't know that I love the scary hours thing. Am I the only one that doesn't? I mean, it's obviously a reference that's not sort of like for me, I guess. But
yeah, Drake just dropped "Scary Hours" Part 2 or something like that. I know. Sorry,
no, it's not. I get it. It's over. I did want to do one thing though, like and kind of drill down on one of the like the big negative, and I just want to make sure that we do this some justice. Well, two negatives. First of all, somebody on Twitter pointed out that Blake Griffin has a new show, a cross prankster show, where he's pranking the prankster on a new TV series. Very niche, very niche. It's very it's instant karma, Can I say something about that? Is the prank show the lowest form of comedy? Is that the?
Some would say it's the highest. Yeah. I don't. I think prank shows suck.
Would Ashton Kutcher say it's the highest?
Ashton Kutcher, Rob Dyrdek, and the guys from Staten Island who are crank, whatever they are. Those anchors? Guys, the guys that are on True TV.
Yeah.
When it's every year when you watch March Madness. That is the commercial that they blast.
I do know these guys.
I know you don't care about this, but
no,
people out there in the world know about it.
Who is this? I know about things. I could know.
You don't know about these? What are they called? Well, it doesn't matter. Everyone knows what they are.
Okay.
There's these 5 guys from Staten Island who, the Practical Jokers. What?
Okay.
Sorry.
They sound
the
cool.
fact that I didn't know that title was terrible.
That's funny that I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, like, anyways, like the YouTube pranksters, like that's a very lowbrow world. No offense if you're a fan of the show and you're a YouTube prankster. No offense.
Can I ask you a question?
Please.
Was Jackass a prank show?
That's a great question. So I would say no. As in, like, there was some prankishness to it. At the same way, it's not like a skateboarding show, right? There's skateboarding in it, for sure. But it wasn't a skateboarding show.
Was it a sex show? There's some sex in it.
A little of everything. It was a salad.
What was it? A stunt show?
Whoa. Should we do like a 4-part series on this, or is that
chicken or egg?
Yeah.
What was it? I guess I would say it's a stunt show. There's not many stunt shows, but that is a stunt show.
So are we worried about the cringe emanating from Blake Griffin's various entertainment pursuits?
No, absolutely not. Because everyone's made this joke. I think I made this joke on Twitter. Blake's going to be great for the New York City comedy scene, right? Like, because Blake Griffin, I think he did UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade, in LA. I was a producer on the Athletics Clippers podcast.
Okay.
That Paul Scheer, comedian, he's
funny guy.
The bald guy in the league, which feels really demeaning to say he's the bald guy in the league. Mm-hmm. But he's the bald guy in the league who wears funny hats.
Is he the guy with the big gap in his front teeth?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was at a Space Jam reading with Blake, and Blake was hilarious. And I think Blake went up to there's some comedy festival in Montreal, and this is so sad that I listen to too much Mark Maron, so this is all part of my
interesting.
To Catch a Rising Star.
Okay.
I don't know. This is so
What's
sad.
happening?
But Blake's love for comedy is authentic.
Okay.
And I like that because I think this team, I mean, come on. Him and DeAndre back together is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I guess DeAndre is the funniest Brooklyn Net right now. It's not Kyrie Irving, so I guess it's...
Quibi had an attempt at doing a celebrity-driven prank show with Chance the Rapper, Mike.
Yeah, so I think pranks are stupid. Like when I hear stories about George Clooney as like the master pranker on movie sets, I think
very low EQ. I feel like that's a low EQ guy.
That sucks.
You don't want to be, and that's why I'm a little bit of when they invoked the chemistry issues. The guy who's pranking, like doing lame pranks in the locker room, like I hate to be. This is going to be a double F word pod here, but fuck that guy. Nobody wants that guy. Nobody likes the guy who's like hid your socks. Like, ugh, where's the socks?
But I don't think that's Blake.
Give me the goddamn socks.
The reason why I brought it was pureness of comedy is I think ultimately what he wants to be is he wants to be, in the Judd Apatow movies.
Yeah.
Coming up forward. He doesn't want to be. Yeah. He doesn't want to be in Practical Jokers movies, which are very popular and they make a ton of money.
The second part of it was that I didn't want to glance over this thing with like the Nick Claxton development stuff is kind of real. We did kind of blow right past that.
Coming from you, this is rich.
Why?
The largest and loudest agitator of Claxton Nation.
We change our minds. We're I'm not married to any take.
That's what makes us good.
Dynamic.
Stick to.
I'm
takes.
reevaluating stuff on an hourly, if not minutely basis. All the time. All of my takes throughout the years. I've got a Rolodex of takes. Does it really screw up the Claxton development process? Are we cutting into his minutes? Like,
can I say the Nets shouldn't worry about the Nick Claxton as much as I love Nick Claxton? They shouldn't be worried about Nick Claxton.
I got worried all of a
because
sudden.
this team is so good. I still think Claxton is going to get minutes. It's just going to be diminished under Blake. What Blake also lets them do is to continue to sit out guys for multiple weeks for chest contusions and all the random things that continue to happen to basketball players. It's just another guy who they can put in there while KD continues to nurse a hamstring. I
want Nash to run Claxton until he spews his guts out right there at center court. I want that because he feels like he's going to barf one of these days. He's going to barf on TV.
So every time they say so Kevin Durant's been out for a month and Kyrie has missed a few games within that stretch. I always kind of just want Nash to be like, Harden, you're sitting this game. Because I want Harden to relax a little bit. He's been so phenomenal playing so many minutes.
I feel like Harden's I want to go for this Iron Man, whatever, most games in. Yeah, I think he's going for that stupid stuff.
But also, the reason why I want Nash to do that, to say, Harden, please sit, is because I want to see just a full game of Nick Claxton, Chris Chiozza, Landry. I want all the backup players just because I need to remember what it was like.
Wow.
Remember how much fun it was when you were dreaming that Isaiah Whitehead would be something.
You want to boot up your N64 and play a little
Mario Kart, which I did buy off of eBay from some Taiwanese teenager who made it for me. They
made it.
There's some guy,
a paper mache. What are we talking?
I'm pretty sure he's a Taiwanese teenager. If you go on eBay, you can find him somehow.
Handcrafted.
They will remake for you Mario Kart. It's a new Mario Kart. It's not used. It's new, and the only way you can make it new is if someone makes it for you, literally. So
wait, hang on. I don't want to drill down too deep on this, but so it's it's a cartridge that loads into an N64 that they're making with a 3D printer.
Exactly like Mario Kart. It's the same game, except it's a new cartridge, and there's only one way it could happen, is if it's built. Someone would have to build it now.
Okay.
And I think there's someone it's
how
from
much
Taiwan.
How much did you pay for this?
$25.
It's good. These price for a
dude. Have you seen the prices?
Black market.
They're $500.
Dude, I had a crazy run in college where I was dropping. It was 85 cents on Amazon.
I know, Brian.
Yeah, you were there for that. I was just stacking up. I have probably 2 G's worth of N64 games in my closet.
GoldenEye and Mario Kart are just if you could put that on the market right now, make a lot of money. Everyone cares about.
I got Conker's Bad Fur Day. I'm going deep. I got 2 copies of it back when it was going for $5 a piece.
Of what?
Conker's Bad Fur Day. It's a very rare N64 game. Mike, what else? What's the last bit?
Well, I wanted to bring up something real quick. So Cleaning the Glass is one of the best stat sites out there. And, we're also worried about the defense. And Blake Griffin, will he help? Won't he help? I don't know. But here's the thing. Over the past 2 weeks, the Nets offense has been the best in the NBA. Just barely above Denver, but the best in the NBA. And they've been the 13th best defense over the past 2 weeks. And I bring that up to say, and I've said it before, the Nets don't have Kevin Durant right now, who's technically their best defender and their best player. And they're still the best offense in the NBA. And over the past 2 weeks, they've been the 13th best defense. And within, if they were 0.2 better per game, they would be the 11th best defense in the NBA. A massive jump up from 13. Huge. So
huge.
They are, I think the defensive issues, it's not that they're unfounded. It's just that they're a little skewed. It's just the thing that every guy on ESPN and gal can bring up and say, but are you worried about the Nets defense? And we're worried. I think we're properly worried. Yeah, I think it's overblown. It's not like the Cleveland Cavaliers, what was it, like 5 years ago when they were the worst defense in the NBA and then they turned it on in the playoffs and
I've seen them do the turn it on enough to know that it's there when it actually matters. That's what I've decided, because we've been in this Nets K-hole for years, and we were like, oh gosh, like, is everything going to be okay? And as long as you just see it happen when it needs to happen once or twice, you're fine. We're good.
And it's another thing, actually, why I do like James Harden on this team is because he can play defense. He can body up dudes. The Nets are currently on Cleaning the Glass, which is just only points. This is not like an advanced stat. This is just how many points they give up per game. They're currently 24th in the NBA right now in points per game that they give up. Mm-hmm. And they're the number one offense. So it's trending in the right direction. If they get to be middle of the pack defensively and number one on offense, then that's the mix.
I hate how loose and fast everyone plays with this concept of defense. Like, they're just like, everyone's like, yeah, but he can't play defense. But like, it's just such a, I don't know. These are entry level takes, just like the guy can't play defense take.
So that was our Blake Griffin emergency pod. Thank you all for listening. Find us on Twitter at BKGlueGuys, netsdaily.com, The Athletic. Get yourself.
How did you know?
I think it's $4 a month.
How did you know I didn't have more to say?
I don't have anything else to say.
Well,
and I have to go to the restroom.
You got to go to the bathroom.
So bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, in that case, I'll save this huge blistering take for next time that I have. For next time. Next time.
Okay. Thank you all for listening. Do you have a blistering take?
I don't. No, I'm just kidding. I do. I really do not.
How blistering?
Literally no takes. I don't. I'm just
Thank you all for listening. At BKGlueGuys on Twitter. What a joy. The Nets have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Blake Griffin.
We did it, boys.
Bruce Brown.
We did it.
Brownsville.
Stand up.
Okay. I gotta go pee so bad. 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 I gotta go pee so bad.